Welcome to another episode of In the Nude. Let's talk about the opposite of trauma is choice. I know. If it doesn't make you uncomfortable, congrats to you. That makes me extremely uncomfortable. Where does that statement come from? I have had the pleasure of working with a lot of therapists in my healing. Some have been fantastic and wonderful, and there's been quite a few who have not. This particular statement comes from one of the fantastic humans that has helped me quite a bit. And she has said to me in the past, the opposite of trauma is choice. So let's break it down. What is trauma, right? Often trauma is something that happened to you that you didn't have the choice to participate in. You literally often have had any ability to have personhood removed from you in that situation. Often there's helplessness, chaos, things like that are settled in. So one of the things that can help transition you from a place of feeling traumatized to feeling more healed is grabbing onto and finding selfhood in the process, which comes from often choice. A lot of people, me specifically included in this, when you go through an extensive amount of trauma, part of even that trauma is a disassociation from self, for survival, for other people, for otherwise, but choice becomes something that is extremely difficult. Not necessarily in a calculated logical sense. That could probably be very easy for you, where you see, oh, I need this, choice A, choice B, this one fits more, and you can easily make choices. Even choices that might be difficult for other people, you could do. But what about when it comes to you? What about it comes to making a choice that you want, but might not be the choice somebody else wants? Or making a choice that is complicated and connects to multiple different people and your perspective? Maybe then it becomes more difficult. But the more that we lean into making choices, we are fortifying, whether we like the choice or not, we are fortifying our independence, fortifying our selfhood. And in that, making a definitive choice and walking forward in that choice, even if it's the wrong choice, it's still not the wrong choice because we made a choice. That doesn't mean the results will be what we wanted, but it means that making that choice and moving forward with that choice is a step towards that healing, towards that understanding, towards that selfhood that we're wanting. The opposite of trauma is choice. So when you're sitting there and you're feeling trapped in your choice, feeling indecisive, feeling like you're stuck on the fence, and almost maybe like you want to be on the fence because either side feels like commitment and either side feels like something could go wrong, either side feels like, oh. As that person who has in many times in my life, and even now in certain aspects of my life, sits firmly on that fence, unwilling to step back to the side I was on and unwilling to move forward to the other side, the more we straddle that fence, the more we are placing ourselves on hold. The choice isn't fun. The choice is going to have consequence. The choice might be the wrong choice, but the choice, even if it's not the choice that we would hope, didn't come to whatever conclusion we wanted, making that choice helps get us towards whatever that is. It is only through those choices that change can occur. It is only through those choices that life is had. It is only through those choices that we take ownership and onus of our individuality, of our heart, of our life, of owning back what we might have once had taken. It is the opposite of trauma. We get to choose our own adventure, like those books when you're a child. And no, we don't get to necessarily know all the endings. And every time we come to a new choice, it might change drastically what we thought things would go. But with each one of those choices, we are writing our own story. And it could be something as silly and frivolous as what you're having for dinner. But that simple and frivolous could be that you go to some sushi place and they're sitting at that bar because you chose to sit at the sushi bar. You're seated next to somebody else who also made that choice. And maybe you make a connection that isn't just a momentary connection, but it's a friend. Or maybe it is a momentary connection that later on comes about that you're someplace else and you see them again, and there's a reason for it. There's a connection. There's beauty in the chaos of us making choices. It doesn't remove the difficulty of making the choice. you're still the only person who can make that choice for you, whatever that choice is. You're still the only person who can show up for you in that way. You're still the only person who gets to choose whether you write your story or you respond to the prompts of other people. Whether you're the only person who doesn't take away the difficulty of living it out. But you do get to hold the reins. You do get to decide what your perspective is. You get to decide, am I going to view it this way or another way? I struggle with this immensely. I conceptually understand and comprehend mentally, but I don't metabolically receive it because of so many things that have defunct my process of thinking. I don't know if you'll resonate with this, but I was definitely raised for the pleasure of other people. And I don't mean that in all the grotesque ways, but also those too. I was raised to keep in mind the satisfaction, happiness, contentment, joy, life-ship, thought process, dreams of other people and respond as such. And while I know mentally one of the best ways I can love other people is by learning to love myself, and take care of other people is by taking care of myself. And while I understand that my dreams matter, and my heart matters, and my thought process matters, my opinions matter, mentally, metabolically, it hasn't seated that way yet. I comprehend it, and in moments I can metabolically be there. But when it comes to pivotal moments where these are choices that aren't like what we're having for dinner. These are choices like, do I take this left or this right? There's no going back. It is a divergence in the road. I sit idled in my car, hands on the steering wheel, nowhere near that gas pedal, just content to sit because I know that once I make this left or I make this right, there's no backseas. The road falls out behind me and I feel frozen in time making that choice because it's not just me. Even if it was just me, let's just talk about the just me part of it. If you've had a decent amount of trauma, the finding out what you prefer is not just a knowing, it is an actual finding out. It's an explorative, expensive, going into the depths of the ocean, trying to figure out what is. It's sitting there and saying to yourself and being willing to sit uncomfortably while you don't know the answer. You're upset. What is it I need? And silence is the response. And then you just have to throwing things at the wall. Do I need a hug from somebody else or myself? Do I need to lay down and take a nap? Do I need to sit in a quiet room? Do I need to have some stuffed animal to squish? Do I need a bath? And you start testing things and throwing things at the wall. And at least that's how I've done it. Trial and error, trying to figure out what exactly is me, what exactly helps. Because when you have lived in trauma for a long time or have lived through extensive trauma, your sense of self, because so much of your choice was taken away, because so much of yourself had to be responding, had to be surviving, you lose it. There's a level of disassociation. You spend so much time thinking about what did happen or what's going to happen. You leave yourself where you are, isolated and alone. Because every time you start thinking over what happened or what will happen, you are left, part of you is left in the present with no one to advocate for it because you're so much in your head. It's why people talk about getting back into your body, why yoga or stretching or meditation and all these things or grounding exercises are trying to bring you back to your person, because awareness is a huge factor in the whole thing. But awareness is uncomfortable. Awareness is being, not doing. Awareness is being, not doing. I don't know about you, but doing is easy for me. Oh, I can make a list and I can check it twice and I can do it 3 times and I can keep going. Working endlessly and tirelessly, that is a thing that is my go-to. What is uncomfortable is being. Wasting time. Sitting and staring at a wall and letting your thoughts reel and just paying attention to them. Not with a goal. No, because if you have a goal, then it goes back to doing, not being. But the being, the awareness, the sitting, the getting to know yourself, the finding, the exploratory awareness and observation of your thoughts as they happen. Whoa! Uncomfortable as it is the work, it is the magic, it is the sauce that makes everything else work. And it is in those uncomfortableness of being and exploration of testing the waters of what is beneficial to you that we start to get to know and find the us. So that when we come to those choices and we're trying to make the assessment of what we should do, we can have a better seated understanding of what we want, what feels best. And this isn't a mental thought, because our mind is going to sit there and continuously capitulate between people's thought process, what's logical, and you're going to bing and thought. And when you think, as we said before, you're disassociating from where you are and who you are. There's a part of you that does not need to think, and it knows. For example, do you like chicken? You got a response. Are you a chicken? There's a part of you that just knows. That it's the inside. It's the you. It's not the part that's trying to figure out what the right answer is. It's the part that knows, that is, that we get so disassociated with. You can see a child that has no they've never taught how to have filters, right? They ask the question that you've been told, oh, that's uncomfortable. We don't say that because, people don't like being asked that. It's the person who says at the table, the little kid's like, I don't like this, yuck, ugh. Because they haven't been taught that it's rude, they shouldn't say that. It's that part of us that we've so disassociated from, it's that we've so told ourselves, no, you gotta use words, that we gotta get back to stop making these choices based on what we think is the right answer versus what we know. It's a whole process. So when you're sitting there making that choice, you're sitting there in that row, left or right, and it's a big choice. You not only have yourself in mind, but you also have the conditionings of whatever your trauma has been. Did you need to make people happy? Did you need to make people satiated? Did you need to sacrifice yourself? Do you associate your own joy, your own pleasure, all of those things as bad and negative? Are you naturally inclined to go toward the thing you hate because you hate it, because then it must be right? It's a whole process of comprehending the thoughts that you're having by observation. When you feel a feeling, we like to why are we feeling it? Why don't we do that with thoughts more often? You have this thought, I should be, blah, why? Why should you? Why should I? Why is that a thought process? Why am I? It's a whole system. It's a whole weight. It's a lot. But every time we make a choice, even if our choice in that moment is to sit in the car and idle, we are making a choice in that. It may not be a choice that we want to have associated with us. It may be not a choice that aligns with who we want to be, but we are making a choice. Every time I choose not to make a choice and I sit on that fence, I am choosing the consequences, fallout, and life that comes with that. The opposite of trauma is choice. So I'm going to challenge you. Make 5 choices today. Silly ones. Grab a piece of gum that you picked. Go step outside because you decided you wanted to. Take the longer way home because you wanted the extra time in your car. Grab the gallon of milk because you want it. Give someone a smile that's a stranger because you want them to be seen today. 5 choices. It doesn't matter what they are. But with each one, you're laying claim to your life. You're saying, no, this is mine. I am owning it. I am going to be my author. I am going to be my main character, and I get to decide what that looks like. Maybe my main character is somebody who likes for other people to feel uplifted. Maybe my main character is someone who radiates confidence. Maybe my main character is someone who sits in the subtle quiet of the beauty of nature. Whatever it is, go out. Make 5 choices today. Small, big, huge, doesn't matter. Because it's your adventure. It's your life. And with each one of them, you're claiming it.